I call to order this meeting of the Coweta County Board of Education, Agenda 806, 6:30 p.m., Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, excuse me. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. No recognitions. Turn it over to Dr. Horton for election of officers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item on the agenda is the election of board officers for 2024. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll open it up for nominations for individuals or for a slate of officers.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I would like to nominate a slate, if the board sees fit to do that. I'd like to nominate Rob Dubose as treasurer, Buzz Glover as vice chair, and Andrew Copeland to serve as chair.
Are there any other nominations? All right, is there a motion to close the nominations? Second? All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Is there a motion to elect the officers as stated by Mrs. Dees?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of December 12th, 2023?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0 with Mr. Glover abstaining. All right, action items, Group 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first action item I have for you in Group 1 is to adopt Robert's Rules of Order, the newly revised 12th edition. Board policy states that each year at our January meeting that we shall determine the specific revision and addition of Robert's Rules of Order to be used for the calendar year. So with that, I recommend approval of Robert's Rules of Order, the newly revised 12th edition.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to adopt Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
The next item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve board member attendance at GSBA mandated training in 2024. This move to approve training for board members at the January meeting was started several years ago. By doing this, board members can attend training online or in person without getting board approval each time. Approved training is required by law for each board member, so I recommend that you approve board member attendance at mandated GSBA training.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve staff retention bonuses. On December the 18th, 2023, Governor Brian Kemp announced that he would include in his FY24 amended budget approximately $202 million for K-12 teachers and school support staff to receive a $1,000 retention supplement. Approval is requested to fund a one-time retention bonus of $1,000 to all permanent full-time employees and a $500 retention bonus to all permanent part-time employees on January 12th, 2024, based on the following criteria. Employees must have been included and paid on the December 15th, 2023 monthly payroll or the December 22nd, 2023 biweekly payroll. Employees must be considered active and must not have resigned or have been terminated prior to the payout of the retention bonus. Substitutes who have worked at least 432 hours during the first semester of the 23-24 school year will receive a retention bonus of $500. Contracted service vendors will not be eligible for the retention bonus. These retention bonuses are subject to federal, FICA, and Medicare taxes. Therefore, payroll taxes will be withheld from the retention bonus payment. Because they're not considered earnable compensation, these retention bonuses are not subject to teacher retirement system withholdings. Total cost of these retention bonuses is approximately $3,510,467. The Georgia Department of Education will fund $2,342,194 of the retention bonuses. The Department of Early Care and Learning will fund approximately $55,978 for the pre-K program. System will fund the remaining $1,112,295 with federal ESSR 3 ARP funds. Mr. Chair, I recommend approval. I will mention briefly that when these bonuses are approved at the state level, they don't include everyone. There are certain categories, and it varies from time to time, as we've seen over the last couple of years. This approval will guarantee that all of our permanent employees, even those that were not included in the bonuses from the state, will receive a retention bonus. So with that, Mr. Chair, I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve staff retention bonuses. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Dr. Horton, I just had one question. In looking at it, and we chatted about it, the retention bonuses are going to cost about $3.5 million, as you stated, and then 1.1 of that is going to come from us, which I'm totally fine with. When we look at the line item in the superintendent's reports, next month we're going to see over budget a little bit more, correct?
Yes, sir. Next month, you will see us to be over budget an additional amount, just due to the fact that the way we budget, if there's an expense that we didn't budget for back when the budget was approved in late June, it's going to show as an overage in this year's budget. So yes, sir, we will reflect as over budget based on this unintended expense.
Yeah. And to confirm, this isn't coming from the general fund, it's the federal dollars for this one.
Correct. This will involve no general fund dollars. This will be from federal COVID funds, ESSER funds, as we like to call them. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Farmer's going to abstain.
The next item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve Moreland and Glanton redistricting plan. As discussed in previous Board of Education meetings, a district line working committee was formed to examine potential redistricting options to redistrict students from Moreland Elementary School to Glanton Elementary School. This committee developed 2 potential redistricting options for consideration. Public comment on both options was solicited and provided to board members for review. I recommend that the board approve redistricting option 2 along with the attached amended grandfathering procedure. A copy of the option 2 district map and the proposed amended grandfathering procedure is attached. Board members, I do want to bring to your attention the amendment to the grandfathering procedure. You may recall that the original grandfathering guidelines that we had out for comment would have allowed rising 5th grade students to remain at Moreland for next year if they could provide transportation. This proposal is amended to include all currently enrolled Moreland students who live in the affected area. Siblings of Moreland students who are not currently enrolled at Moreland would not be eligible for future enrollment at Moreland. So it's currently enrolled students at Moreland from pre-K all the way through rising 5th graders would be allowed to stay at Moreland until they matriculate on to middle school under this expanded option. We would also utilize option 2, which would have, if you recall, option 1 would have pulled approximately 107 students from Moreland to Glanton. Option 2, in looking at in totality, is about 140 students that would move from Moreland to Glanton. So I recommend option 2 with the expanded and amended grandfather procedure. Recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the Moreland-Glanton redistricting plan, option 2 with the amended grandfather clause. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Is there
Second?
any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take just a moment and thank everyone that was involved in developing this plan, and that goes from the parents that were on the committees that we met here twice, and they went through multiple maps. Ms. Harris, Mr. Vince Bass came out of retirement for a little while to help us with that. I'm sure a lot of the central staff members that are here with us had some input into that. All of the parents that commented online and through different means. I've actually met with several parents over the past few days about this. And this is the first redistricting that I've actually voted on, and this is my starting the 4th year on the board. And it would have to be squarely in the 2nd district that I represent. So I appreciate everyone's work. I think the plan that we've come up with, especially with the expanded grandfathering clause, I'll call it, satisfies most of the comments from the parents. I know we probably couldn't, satisfy every single one out there, and for that we apologize. But I think in the end, we're doing what's good for the Coweta County taxpayer. We've got a school at Glanton that's underutilized, and we don't want to do that. But just again, thank you for everyone that had a hand in this, including the fellow board members. When Dr. Horton put it out, there were a lot of really good questions and thoughtful questions from my fellow board members. So again, thank you to everyone.
I'd like to just add, Mr. Chairman, I have sat on many, as a parent, as a redistricting, and it's not an easy thing. And there's emotions involved. And when you've got a beloved school that you love and you're being moved, I think it's always important to know that your kid's still going to be okay. Your kid's still going to get that support. And I am very grateful. I did read a lot of the comments, went through all of them, and I think it's very important that the board listened, and that we are going to allow those children, and that is preschool as well. So if you're currently enrolled as preschool through 5th grade, you may remain there, and then the current students coming in will then go to Moreland. Yes. Thank you for Yes, I know I've asked you about that, but I wanted to make sure that was clear, and I think that it's a good option.
Thank you, Mr. Glover, Ms. Dees. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5, or any opposed? This motion carries 5-1. Mr. Farmer opposing.
The last item I have for you in Group 1 is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Coweta County for radio tower space. Approval is requested to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between Coweta County School System and Coweta County for radio tower space. Board members, this is up off of the Cannon Gate Tower on the north end. You may recall that we do this from time to time just to expand our coverage throughout the county for our transportation radios. So I recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Coweta County for radio tower space. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. There are no action items in Group 2. Moving to Group 3, trips.
Call on Dr. Guy to bring you trip. Dr. Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. The principal of East Coweta High School requests permission for the rifle team to participate in the Marine Corps Service JROTC Air Rifle Marine Corps National Championships as one of the top 5 rifle teams throughout the nation. The students will depart on February 7th to Salt Lake City, Utah, and return on February 11th, 2024. Students will miss 3 days of school and will be required to complete appropriate coordination with teachers prior to departure. There is no cost to the school system. Does meet our field trip guidelines.
Recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the East Coweta High School field trip request. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Moving to superintendent's reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll call on Mr. Latimer to bring you budget report and your sales tax. Mr. Latimer.
All right, good evening, everyone. For our budget report, for December, we've completed 50% of fiscal year '24. and we've expended 49.04% of our budget. For the month of December, we are over budget $847,000, and cumulatively, we are over budget $915,441 for the year. I want to point out that we are over budget strictly because of our strategic security modification that we did in the system. In December, the strategic renewal and equipment upgrade using school security grant funds was completed, and the final payment was made to complete the project. This expenditure was not included in the FY24 budget. On January 4th, 2024, the school district received the security grant funds of $1,450,000 to fund the project. Due to the timing of the receipt of the security grant funds, they were not included in this month's budget report. All right, moving on to sales tax. Our sales tax collections for the month of December was almost $3.2 million, which is slightly below our average for the last 12 months, but still good collections for SPLOST 6. All right.
And board members, you'll see next, we have the audit report for ending June 30th of 2023. We had intended for Hope Pendergrass to be here tonight from Malden and Jenkins. Fortunately, she's under the weather and has some sickness in her family, so she's going to come next month and present the audit report to you. I will give you the long story short, and Mr. Latimer would be mad if I did not say this. Once again, a clean audit with no exceptions. A very good job by everybody throughout the system. Mr. Latimer, you got something to add there?
I did want to go ahead and point out that the audit report has been published on our website, so anybody can go to the website and look at our FY23 audit report, but it is clean with no findings.
Next item we have there under the financial section is just a tentative budget calendar for you as we begin to look toward next school year and the budget cycle, beginning with the legislative session that just opened yesterday. You can see we're tentatively planning for budget workshop at our regular May board meeting on May the 14th. The second budget workshop would be on May the 21st at a called meeting. And then in June, we would have our tentative adoption at our regular June meeting on June the 11th of 24, and then looking at formal adoption in a called meeting on June the 25th of 2024. Of course, those dates are just tentative, subject to change based on circumstances, but wanted you to go on and at least have a general timeline of our upcoming budget calendar. Mr. Chair, there's no staff and student attendance due to the holiday, and Dr. Guy is going to bring you your board goal report. Dr. Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. I would like to make you all aware of the upcoming Winter Administrative Workshop. The theme of this year's workshop is Fire and Ice, and will take place on Monday, January 22nd, 2024, here at the WERS Central Office. Principals and system administrators will spend the day analyzing and focusing on subgroup data, student achievement data, and making any necessary academic adjustments as we progress throughout the school year.
Thank you, Dr. Guy. Board members, I have a couple more things for you. First off, the facilities and construction report. You'll see Northgate still there, no change from the last report, just waiting to get some inspection, re-inspection information for the closeout warranty on the addition there. Softball field houses are underway at all three high schools. Foundation blocks have been laid for the buildings at East Coweta High School. Scheduled for a slab pour out there next week, weather permitting. Northgate interior demolition is complete on its softball field house, and footings for the restroom addition are now complete, working on those underground plumbing rough ends there. Noonan High School, if you've been by there, you see that demo is complete on the old visitors concession stand. They're rerouting some electrical service, hopefully within the next week by Noonan Utilities there, and underground plumbing work has been completed in the existing locker rooms. Band towers, delivery of materials is scheduled for late January, and we'll get those to go vertical as soon as we can get materials on site. Noonan High School, it's coming right along. BP1 is complete. BP2, the gym, finishing punch list work there, and you'll see landscaping going in around the building. If you've been by the campus lately, you will note that the service road, I call it service road, the concrete service road between the 9th grade building and the baseball field is now in. They finished pouring that and have fencing and landscaping installed along that road leading back to or into the stadium. BP3, the academic buildings, brick veneer, should be complete any day now, weather permitting. You've seen the cast stone entrance and porticos, both at the auditorium and in the front of the building. Those are near completion. Most all of the windows are now in, so we're really close to a place where we're dried in on those academic buildings. Everything is on track for July occupancy, and we're already talking about plans for moving furniture in and trailers out. So that's a pretty clear indication that we're well on our way toward occupying that new space in July, and don't see any issues with that. As Mr. Cheek and I discussed last week, if there are any issues with that, you'll probably be talking to somebody other than me and Mr. Cheek, because we got to get that thing done on time. So we are well on our way, and everybody's doing a great job over there at Noonan High. Last thing I have for you is just a note pursuant to OCGA 20-2-51 and our board policies. Board members are to file annually with the superintendent and with the State Board of Education a written statement certifying that he or she is in compliance with the Code of Ethics. Additionally, the law requires board members to annually disclose compliance with the State Board of Education's policy on training for members of local boards of education, Code of Ethics of the local boards of education, and the conflict of interest provision applicable to members of local boards of education. Copies of board member certification and disclosure statements will be maintained at the superintendent's office. There's one attached there, and we have copies of that for you tonight. You can sign it tonight and get it to Ms. Pat, or you're more than welcome to take it and send it back to her later. But that is something that we will need to get from everybody here in the next couple of days or so. Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. There are no public comments tonight, but I do thank everyone for being in attendance, both online and in person. I really appreciate it. Moving on to board comments. Are there any board comments this evening? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve to enter an executive session to discuss personnel, real estate, and potential litigation?
So moved.
Is there-
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0.